I am going to now make a shift, which is, I think, is interesting timing, to hear from a recruiter, regional recruiter, Aimee Schattner. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, who is within her title, right? She does recruiting for Peace Corps, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about what it's like, experience, some of the challenges. I do not want to take your thunder, so I'm not going to say much more except for to welcome you. We are really looking to hear, hear from you. We heard from Carol yesterday. Andrew Wilson from the Third Goal also contributed. So this is a continuation of a topic that's extremely important and valuable to the members of the groups and the National Peace Corps Association. So Aimee, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thanks so much, Carla. I appreciate the warm welcome. Thank you so much. Yes, you pronounced my name correctly. The one thing is that I'm no longer a recruiter. I'm a recruiter supervisor, but I was a recruiter about 15 years ago. So I work in the Office of Recruitment and hopefully can address some of the questions that are on your minds. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Really appreciate it. I'm glad that you all heard from Carol Spawn yesterday. A little bit daunting to follow in her footsteps today, but I will do the best that I can. Thank you so much. I believe we have a slide deck. Wonderful. Okay, perfect. All right, next slide, please. We'll just start right away with my information. So although I am not a recruiter right now, I am a returned Peace Corps volunteer. So here is a picture of me in Kenya. You can't really see it clearly, but that is the U.S. Treasury check that I received as I was COSing and departing the country. I was actually there for 3 years. I extended for a 3rd year. So as it says there, and as Carla graciously introduced me, my name is Aimee Schattner, she, her. I'm an RPCV, served in Kenya from 2002 to 2005, and also St. Kitts from 2011 to 2012. That was as a response volunteer. And in both cases, I served as a business volunteer. Previously, it was called Small Enterprise Development. Now it's Community Economic Development, but for short, business volunteer works also. And you can see here where I had gone to school. I'm originally from Wisconsin, went to St. Norbert near Green Bay, and then totally went to a different part of the country for grad school many years after that in Arizona. So thank you again so much for having me here. Just really wanted to let you know that I am part of that network, that 240,000 going strong, and really happy to be here with you in that capacity as well. Next slide, please. All right, each one reach one. So I know you heard a little bit about this from Carol yesterday evening. I'm not sure if everyone was there. I'm not sure if everyone was able to attend last night, so I'm going to go over that a little bit in more detail than Carol had, and try to answer any questions that you may have. But really, we're very excited about this new campaign, which was recently launched just a couple of months ago. Next slide, please. So just to give you a little bit of background information, this is a campaign that was developed, like I said, really recently. So each one, reach one. It's also called E1R1, but that doesn't quite roll off the tongue quite as much as just each one, reach one. And yeah, just as it says, it was a campaign developed for RPCVs. We're hoping that RPCVs can help us in the recruitment initiative to recruit future volunteers. So each RPCV to reach one person, to hopefully, shepherd them through the process, to recruit them, to support them through the application process, all the way until enter on duty. So that's the hope. Initially, it was through 2024, but let's just continue right into 2025. That fiscal year is right upon us. So that is what the campaign is, just in really high level, one bullet format. We did take some steps to launch and roll out this campaign. So we developed a media package. So Peace Corps and NPCA, I was not personally involved in this, but I'm happy to share the information, developed a media package. So that consisted of a full page ad in the Worldview magazine. We'll look in the next slide once we get to that one, what that specifically looks like. There was also a newsletter takeover, a social media post, and then of course the hard print magazines were sent out to NPCA members. So whether you knew it or not, there was a media package that was created and was used to market this out. We also have a portal, so we're really happy that that is launched as well. You can see the link is there. We could also put it in the chat. I can do that when I pause. But it's really to have all of our branded assets in one place for you all to access. Staff, RPCVs, anyone interested in supporting us in recruitment events can use this portal. It's public facing. So you can access it at any time. It has several assets in there. I'll talk about that a little bit more in the next couple of slides. But really it has our branding and it has everything ready to go for you so that it's a one-stop shop and you can go to the portal and grab what you need. Next slide, please. All right, so here are some visuals. So as I mentioned, we were able to get a full page ad. So the brown screenshot, the first one there, that should be on, I don't actually have the Worldview magazine, but hopefully those of you that did receive it can see this ad on the back cover. So I believe it was sent to about 50,000 NPCA members. So hopefully some of you may have that sitting on your desk and can take a look at that as we're talking about it in real time. We also had the newsletter takeover. So you can't really see the text, but it talks about May 2024, talks about the new campaign, what exactly each one reach one is. We'll talk about the metrics a little bit in just a couple of minutes here. And then we also had social media posts. So just as it sounds, LinkedIn, Facebook. We'll talk about who was reached, which outlet was successful, and where we'll go from here with that. Next slide, please. Great. And as I mentioned, we have the portal, which this is just a screenshot of what the landing page looks like. There are actually 6 tiles total, but 3 of them are listed here. You can also see a screenshot of the flyer. So that's just a visual, which is also in the portal if you click on it. So as I mentioned, there are 6 tiles total. There is actually a video, a 2-minute tutorial once you log into the portal in the Welcome and Navigation tab. That will just kind of give you a little bit of an overview. And then there's a ton of assets, like I mentioned. We have one-pagers. We also have a slide deck presentation. So within that slide deck, it talks about the benefits of service, the benefits both during service, the benefits after service. Really very similar information to what Peace Corps volunteers are using in the field when they're speaking with leads and candidates interested in Peace Corps. We also have one-pagers, which are all ready to go for you. One-pagers about what it might be like to serve as a 50+ volunteer, what it might be like to serve as an agriculture volunteer. All of the one-pagers are ready to go for you. We also have posters. And then we have specific one-pagers talking about the 6 sectors. So as you all know, we all served in one of the sectors, and then of course there are secondary projects and third projects, and but the 6 main sectors, we have one-pagers specifically on what some examples of what you may do in a health sector or what your job could be in an environmental sector. So all of that is there for you. Like I said, it really truly is a one-stop shop. We're trying to make it easy so that you can just go to the portal, grab what you need ahead of your event. Next slide, please. Oh, and I'm so sorry. I should have mentioned we will be taking questions at the end. So I am so sorry. I am not looking at the chat right now. I'm not very good at multitasking with that. But I promise I see that there are several comments. So we will get to those and we'll answer them during the questions portion. So as mentioned, we do have some metrics here about each one, reach one. The initial, well, this was provided by you, NPCA. So you'll have to let me know what is the as of date for this, but the initial metrics that we have are showing from the email blast that over 32,000 people opened the email. We have a little bit less than 2,000 clicked through. For social media, you can see here, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, you can see the numbers of likes and reposts. So we really are getting traction on this. And as I mentioned previously, the Worldview magazine was mailed out to at least 50,000 NPCA members, if not more. And then from the Peace Corps side, each one reach one, the campaign itself is actually run by our Office of Communications. So this data point is from their office. We've had just about 800 downloads and almost 3,000 asset views. So that was in the portal that we were just speaking about, RPCVs who have accessed that to gather items that they need ahead of their event. I will just say for the metrics that we are exploring ways to better track and share. So that's something that we're working on, but we are really pleased up to this point that we feel that it has been a good start and we've been receiving positive feedback. So we feel that we're off to a good start, really just getting the message out there was step one. And but we know that there's more work to do with tracking and hearing about the stories of the RPCVs that are out there and what they're doing and what that reaches so that we can gather that metric as well to know how effective this is. Okay, next slide, please. Great. So I'm going to just jump in a little bit more now onto the recruitment side of things. That was more kind of the marketing and what RPCVs can do. And now I'm going to talk about what recruiters are doing writ large, of course. Next slide, please. And I will just mention, the first bullet here is reach out to your recruiter. I will say that when we are fully staffed, we have about 70 recruiters posted throughout the countries in various duty stations. We have our director of recruitment, Judy Torres, who several of you may know. We also have 7 supervisors. I'm one of 7, and each supervisor has approximately 10 recruiters. So as I mentioned, when we're fully staffed, we have about 70 people in the field. We are not fully staffed right now. That's something we're working really hard to do. We're interviewing and we're, trying to select as many candidates as possible to fill those vacancies. So that is something that we're actively in the process of. But if you scan the QR code, that's going to go to our Connect with the Recruiter page. So once you go to that page, there will be 2 prompts. So it will say, are you interested in the Peace Corps Volunteer 2-year program? Or are you interested in the Peace Corps Response Program? So you select whichever option you're interested in, then it will take you to a prompt for your zip code, and then it will ask you for your contact information. So if there is someone from the general public just going to this public-facing website, that's what you will be asked for. If you scan the QR code, it goes to the same page, but we also have listed out the URL link there as well. So like I said, if you reach out to your recruiter, it is possible now, like I said, if we do have a vacancy in a specific city, I will guarantee you that we do have coverage for that city. It's just that it's taking place remotely from a recruiter in a different part of the country. But all of our duty stations are still being covered, and we're doing the best we can, like I said, with backfilling for those vacancies. So really, I would suggest that as a step one, reach out to your recruiter, see what they have on the docket. We're just starting the fall semester, or actually we're a couple of weeks into it now, depending on where we are in the country. Some schools started in late August, and we're starting to attend career fairs. All of the buzz of the fall semester is already starting. In fact, today is also the first stop. We're very excited about this, our HBCU tour. So today is the kickoff at MetLife Stadium, which I may pivot over to right after this meeting. It's the first HBCU game against Morehouse and Howard. So that, I believe, the kickoff may have just happened around the 3 o'clock hour. So we're really happy. We have 15 stops of the tour lined up, and this is stop 1. So we're very happy about that. And so that's just an example of reach out to your recruiter, see what might be happening in their territory and what you might be able to get involved in. And that's a great segue into supporting events. So whether this is on a college campus or whether this is in a community, some of the popular events that we do have on our schedules, one is Welcome Back Send-Off Party. And I will say, last year they were just called send-off parties because we didn't have volunteers. We weren't welcoming anyone back quite yet, but now we are. We are now welcoming our PCVs back. And so we are resuming the name of Welcome Back Send-Off Parties. We have also developed an SOP for any RPCV groups that are interested in attending with your local recruiter, or any RPCV groups maybe that are interested in hosting them. We're going to talk about that in the next slide, though, more details about that specifically, since Third Goal did have an info session on that particular topic. So with the Welcome Back Send-Off Parties, it's really a great way to recognize those who are recently returned. But also it's recognizing those invitees who may soon be departing, and their family and their friends, and the RPCV community that exists in that part of the country. We just had a recent welcome back send-off party. Well, I guess it wasn't so recent now, but it was in April, and we were really happy to have that in New York City, specifically at NYU, which is a partner school for us. We have a strat at NYU, and we were able to host the event before the end of the semester ended. So we really were able to speak with current students, but also those who were recently invited and departing, and then work with the RPCV community to collaborate on that. Also, June, well, in most parts of the country, not all, but June is a common time for Pride festivals. And I'll use New York again as an example. We collaborated with the RPCV group, and we participated in the Pride Parade. We had our banner, and we were walking through Midtown Manhattan, handing out our swag, and we received new beautiful promo items this year that we were able to hand out to those who attended the parade. And actually, just last week, we had another Pride Parade in Vermont, Burlington, Vermont. So like I said, Pride does fluctuate just based on where you are in the country. I think they celebrate in Atlanta in October. So just an example of another way that you can get involved with your RP or with your local recruiter to see what they might be doing in not only college campuses, but also in the community. And then there are community festivals. A couple of weeks ago, I was just participating in Harlem Day. It was actually the 50th anniversary, so that was really exciting. We had our table, we had all of our materials and our swag with us, and we're able to talk to community members in Harlem. And so, you know, we do that across the city. Recruiters do that across their territories. So there are multiple ways really to join us at these events. And of course, the key is that, you know, it's easy to mention these and publicize them through our PCV groups. So now kind of pivoting a little bit into universities and colleges. So alumni connections are so important. If you're an alumni, which you may be, you have an alma mater, and if you want to get involved, and if you'd be interested in maybe joining the recruiter at a career fair, like I said, now is the time. We're starting to attend them. Last week was really the first week where we had kind of a full schedule, and the rest of September and October are really full with fall career fairs. So we'd love to have our PCVs join us at our tables. That's wonderful. We welcome that. We also schedule info sessions and class talks and other various events at college campuses. But if you're not able to join the recruiter, we would also love your connections. Maybe you know an RPCV professor, or maybe you have a department head who would like to, in agriculture, who would be able to let Peace Corps come into their class to speak about what animal husbandry projects we may have in certain parts of the world. So we would love those connections, and also in community involvement. So what if, let's say you're a Rotarian, or you're a member of a Chamber of Commerce, and you have a community event coming up, please let your recruiter know of those connections. We are not only on college campuses, but we're also in the community with those groups as well. And like I said, I guess we've kind of already talked about participate in recruitment events, but really that is a way to have your stories shared, whether it is joining an info session as a guest speaker or a panel event to speak about your experience. We'd love to have you join us and really just add that value and added personal touch to the experience, to hear what it was like for someone else to serve in Peace Corps in most likely a different part of the world. So we really do value those extra voices and really do welcome you. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is an Andrew Wilson. I do not want to steal your thunder at all, but these are some notes from Third Goal. So please at any time chime in, Andrew. But we, like I said, we do have a process. If you are interested in planning, well, I actually should correct myself. I should have listed welcome back send-off, not send-off. Interested in participating in a welcome back send-off event, please email RPCV at peacecorps.gov. If we do already have an event happening in that city, we'll let you know and we'll link you up with the organizer. If not, we will link you up with resources. And then right below that is a recording of the meeting that I mentioned that took place earlier this year with more details about, it was an FAQ about what are the details of hosting a send-off event. And of course, we would love your feedback on each one Reach One materials and to hear your experiences of what you're doing in the field. I wasn't in the meeting yet, but I heard Dan shared his story in a picture when he was out in the field. So that's exactly what we're looking for. So if you wouldn't mind just emailing that to thirdgoal@peacecorps.gov. Okay, I am realizing I think I went extremely over on time. I apologize. I believe the next slide is questions. Okay, great. In the chat, I think there is a lot of feedback in the chat, so just let me know what to answer first, please.
Okay, I'll jump right in. There were a couple of things that were brought up, and then we're gonna kind of shift gears. There was questions about whether the forms could be downloaded and used, the each one Reach One forms. Andrew kindly answered the question that they can be downloaded and used in different forums. There was also a link was put into the recruiters so people could get to that information. And the final one that I do not think was answered were how many vacancies there actually are, if you were able to elaborate on the number of recruitment vacancies.
I do not think that's public knowledge.
Okay, well then the answer would be no.
It is not, but I mean, honestly, we really are working diligently to really fill those vacancies. And I'm so happy that I'm on a hiring panel, just conducted 3 interviews this week, and really happy that we are pulling names of recent RPCVs from the PCE roster. And that really is attributed to Third Goal, who has been going to COS conferences, spreading the word about employment at Peace Corps. So we are seeing the direct fruits of that labor by people applying to the PCE roster, and we're pulling those names and conducting interviews. So it's happening real time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to just close this out because we are slightly over time, which is, slightly is pretty good for us, so we're quite happy. So thank you very much, Aimee. For those who are interested, yes, there was a link put in the chat about recruitment positions. So you can, find that if that's something that you are interested in doing. Aimee, it's always, I don't know if I really have the words to express how much we appreciate when Peace Corps is able to contribute and to be part of these events. We are one family, each of us kind of, what do they say about the 3-legged stool, right? And each piece of it playing its part, and without the other, we're not as strong. So we really do appreciate your presence. For those who are not aware, Aimee really took up the slack when one of her colleagues got sick. So this was the last minute, and you really just pulled off such a wonderful presentation, great information. Again, I cannot express enough how much we appreciated your presence today. I will ask Travis the link. Somebody put the link in the chat, and there have been several questions about that the recruitment link for recruiters. So if it can be placed again in the chat so people are able to access it, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much.